Hi, my name is Nick, and this is Jordan, and today we're here with Professor Robert Jacko. Professor Robert Jacko is a distinguished professor here at Purdue University in the School of Civil Engineering. He graduated here with his PhD in 1972 in civil engineering and has started multiple courses here at Purdue that are in the field of air pollution control, and he's also an active researcher. Professor Jacko started his own environmental consulting firm called Robert Jacko and Associates at a time when air quality in the United States was becoming a rapidly growing concern. So thank you for being here today with us, Professor.
You're very welcome. Happy to help you out here.
Okay. So the first question we have for you is, what originally got you interested in the environment and air pollution?
When I was a young engineer working at Caterpillar Research in Peoria, Illinois, I saw that they were hiring more and more engineers with advanced degrees. So I went back to school, got a master's degree in heat transfer fluid mechanics, and from there, there was a fellow who worked for me on a heat transfer team. He came here to Purdue. We had a new research project that dealt with air pollution. And he then contacted me at Caterpillar in Peoria and asked me if I would consider coming over and working on my PhD. And so I agreed to do that, and I came over here in the summer of 1969 with my whole family. I was married and had 2 children at the time. And I came over here and started my PhD program, and in 2 years I finished it. And then at the end of that 2-year period, I guess the entrepreneurial blood in me kind of welled to the surface, and I was interested in starting my own company.
Okay, so what was your motivation for starting your own business?
Well, it was a very heady time in terms of environmental controls. Many people were concerned about the quality of our air and what was happening, and I saw this as a potential market. And so I went to the bank. I borrowed $5,000, which was a lot of money at that time. And I went out, went to a conference, and I bought a set of stack sampling hardware and learned how to use it, read the book on it, and more or less hung up my shingle regarding I can analyze the gases that are going up the stack into the atmosphere for you if you need that service. And there weren't any firms at all at that time that were doing that sort of thing. And so I was right on the front edge of all that information, which is referred to as stack emission sampling.
Okay. So, what service or products did your business offer other than just stack testing?
It was with my PhD in the environmental area and my background in mechanical engineering, I was able to offer expert testimony in courts of law, which I've done. I was able to design equipments for companies that had problems relating to air pollution control. I could deal with indoor air pollution and outdoor air pollution in terms of emissions, and it was quite successful.
Okay, so when you started your business, what sort of feasibility issues did you run into?
Well, the main thing was that the regulations were driving what had to be done initially. In the United States of America, we have a system of regulations that's referred to as command and control. In other words, the states and the federal agencies dictate what the levels shall be, relating those levels to the protection of human health and protection of animals and protection of things like statuettes and highway corrosion, things like this. And so we had emission targets that had to be met, and many of these companies were scrambling, looking for answers, and I was at the right place at the right time.
Okay, very good. I'm going to pass it on to Jordan now. I'm just going to ask you a couple questions.
What was the strength of your industry when your business started, and did that really help or hurt you?
The strength of the industry that I got into was minuscule. In other words, there wasn't any. There was almost a vacuum in that area of doing this kind of consulting on matters of air pollution. It was a brand new entity in the summer of 1969. And so I was, as I said, some people will say that when you start a business, timing is everything. And so was this. I got right in on the front edge, cutting edge, if you will. I was on the tip of the spear with respect to getting involved in air pollution control. Water pollution was a separate issue that had a long tradition. A lot of it had been going on prior, but very little bit had been going on or was being done at all in the field of air pollution control. So I recognized that, and I guess I was brought up when I was growing up. My father had his own business, and it had nothing to do with the environment, but I learned traits there that were very valuable to me. How to recognize an opportunity first, and once you recognize it, how to go after it and how to work hard to obtain your objectives. And so I was fortunate in that I had that background with my father.
Did you write a business plan when you started your business, and who was involved in that process?
No, I really didn't have a business plan. I had a good idea of what was happening in the environmental field regarding air pollution control, and I went after it step by step. My wife had her degree in finance, and so she was a great help to me in terms of the financial aspects of the business, and that was a major help. But I never had a formal business plan per se. Not to say that I probably needed one, but never had one.
Yeah.
But when you're at the forefront of an industry where the business is just, the phone is ringing off the hook and business is coming in, you're at a marvelous place, and you don't have to over plan. You just try to take care of the business that comes to you.
Very nice. How open in the current entrepreneurial market for new air pollution consulting firms?
Oh, I think there was a time years ago in the early 1970s when people were saying, "Oh, this air pollution stuff is going to be a flash in the pan. It's here now because the EPA is pushing on it very hard." You know, the EPA was just formed, had just been formed in the early 1970s, and as a matter of fact, they went through 6 name changes before they decided on the Environmental Protection Agency. It was a brand new agency. Things were brand new. People thought that this whole environmental movement was going to be just a flash in the pan, and there wasn't a future for a solid business.
Yeah.
Obviously, here we are 40 years later, that has not been the case.
Yeah.
The environmental concerns when you have a company is an integral part of what you do, what you have to do.
All right, we're going to wrap up with one more question. Did you have an exit strategy when you started your business, and what was your overall end goal?
My overall goal was to make money. I'll be quite honest with you. Okay, I was utilizing what I learned in the PhD program in the environmental air pollution field, and I was making that available to my clients. And my end goal was to serve the clients, help the environment. But in fact, if I hadn't been making money, it'd have been a failure. So the bottom line when you're in a capitalistic society is to make money. And that's not bad. You usually do your best when you're forced to make money. If you don't have money as your objective, then you tend to not produce your best products.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for meeting with us and interviewing.
Well, thank you. It's been fun talking about this.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.